Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Listen, people keep saying that this little market structure pause and all of that stuff is just Coinbase protecting themselves. That could not be further from the truth. When you listen to institutional voices and not influencers, you hear the same message repeated. Competition is the issue. Bank lobby pressure is real, and a bad, bad market structure bill can set crypto back. Tonight, I'm going to show you exactly where VanEck and Grayscale line up and why that matters for retail. For retail. All right, fam, we're going to get into it. I can't wait to hang out with you guys tonight. Happy, shoot, wait a minute. It's Generational Wealth Wednesday. Happy Generational Wealth Wednesday to each and every one of you. What an interesting time to be an early adopter in this new asset class that is the digital asset space. Man, I'll tell you, it's interesting. Jungle and I got in a little back and forth on X. I'll cover a little bit of that as well. And uh, what's his name? Brad Garlinghouse. Brad Garlinghouse over at WEF at Davos there, talking some stuff. I would say talking his book. Oh, hilarious to me. Ah, goodness gracious. It's interesting. You know, the kind thing to say, is, well, Coinbase has a business model, Ripple has a business model, and they're out there trying to push for their model. That's the kind thing to say. It's the kind thing to say. I'm going to share my post on X. I kind of posted about that on X. I'll share that with you guys as well. But yeah, it's not just Coinbase. A lot of people out here talking is Coinbase and Coinbase wants this. It's there. No, other people in crypto are saying the same exact thing that Brian Armstrong is saying. That the banking lobby wants to push out competition. That's what this is about. I keep hearing this stuff about performing banking functions without a license. And again, I'm going to say this again, we are not there. Coinbase wanting to do a thing, a vision of a thing, is not doing the thing. That's a vision of a place they want to get to, the super app thing. But they're not there yet. They're not there yet. And no one's going to let them get there and position themselves to perform banking functions without the necessary licenses, especially the banking lobby. We ain't there now. This is about yield and competition for providing yield to retail. That's what this market structure bill and or fight is about. That is the biggest part of this whole thing. That's what it is about. The banks do not want someone else providing yield, because to their customers, because they fear you and I walking away, no longer having savings accounts for some type of savings on interest and moving over to Coinbase. Bottom line. It's not anything else but that. That's what this is about. And people should really I encourage you to take the time to read the market structure bill. Like, get into it. People are not taking the time to get into it. Hey, Margie, how are you? Welcome to the live stream, right? So people aren't taking the time to read it. I'm going to point out some sections in this bill, word for word in the language, that is basically saying we want to operate and we want to gut retail and DeFi. That's what we want, with these little fancy words and terms that they're using. But in the end, that's what they want to do. DeFi is not safe. It is not safe. Just because, and I'll share more of that with you guys later, but it's not safe. You got to get the word, you got to get the lingos and the definition And you got to understand who wrote this market structure bill and stop thinking it's your local congressperson. Like we can no longer afford to be naive. We can't afford to do that, Margie. We got to know the real deal. So I'm going to share some things. I watched a couple of interviews from Paul Barron on the Paul Barron Network on YouTube. He interviewed the guy from Grayscale, I forget his name now, and he interviewed Matthew from VanEck. Very, very telling interviews. Both essentially said the same things, but used the words differently. And both of them flat out said, I agree with Brian Armstrong from Coinbase. They don't have Coinbase's banking model or business model. They don't. They don't have Coinbase's model. They don't have that partnership with Circle. What they do have is some people they can say, hey, go read this thing for me and tell me what is in here. Get some consultant, get some lawyers to dissect this thing. Not just taking some influencer's word for it. Doesn't make any sense. Read the bill. Read. Understand the process of how these bills get drawn up, written up, and who changes them and marks them up and rewrites and changes the definitions to their favor, the stakeholders' favor. And just because your fancy local congressperson wears a suit and presents it doesn't mean they wrote it. They're presenting on your behalf. But the people who write it are these banking lobbies for their benefit. For their benefit. Like, it's not hard. You got to know the process. What's going on, TD Freelancer? How are you, my friend? Appreciate you checking in. So that's the real deal. I'm going to share some of the commonalities between the VanEck interview and the Grayscale interview. Because again, this is not just Coinbase. People out there on X and on YouTube would have you believe that it's just Coinbase. Like Brad Garlinghouse. He got on X and said, I can't believe that Brian walked away the way that he walked away. And the rest of us, he said, the rest of us, the rest of the industry is over here trying to get something done. That's BS. It's complete BS. What Brad knows is he has built a model that current version of that market, Ripple has built a model, current version of that market structure bill, the way it is currently written, 10,000% helps their model. 10,000%. Doesn't help DeFi. It doesn't help retail. Here's a question for you. Just think about it. Think for yourself. Is Ripple promoting institutional DeFi or retail DeFi? When you go on their X page, listen to Shorts, it's institutional DeFi. It's not the same thing. And then you throw on the fact that they're going out and getting these licenses and these charters. I want you to think about it for a second. Just for a second before I share these comparisons between the VanEck guy and the Grayscale guy. I want you to think about this for a second. Would you like a JP Morgan-like crypto firm? Would you, quote unquote, crypto firm? Would you like a Goldman Sachs crypto firm? Would you like that? Would you like a JP Morgan crypto firm company? Would you be good with that? Because it has the word crypto attached to it? TD freelancers like, no. How about no? Right? This is what it feels like to me as Ripple's going. That's what it feels like to me, fam. It feels like Ripple is going in that direction. They're trying to carve a path, make their way, and become that. That's what it feels like to me. That's what it feels like to me. That's what it feels like to me. And that might only be good. I'm saying might. That might only be good for two people, institutions and XRP holders. And I'm saying it might be good for retail XRP holders. It's going to be good for institutions. Institutions need this technology. They need the upgrades. They need to upgrade to their plumbing. But that doesn't mean it's going to be good for all of retail. Now, Michael Saylor's thing is not necessarily good for all of retail, right? You got to point that out, right? That's about Bitcoin, right? So I'm just saying that's what it feels like to me. Yes. I listened to, did you guys, Margie, did you guys listen to Brad Garlinghouse at this WEF panel that he was on with Brian Armstrong, right alongside Brian Armstrong? I'm telling you, dude is good, man. That dude is smooth. But I'm not falling for it. He's smooth, man. Smooth. He knows, okay? He knows that Ripple has a regulatory stack. He knows it. And they can operate on a blockchain that can say, you know what? Let me cut it and make it private ledger and serve my institutional clients. They have private versions, or what do they call them? The private versions of the XRPLs, don't they? I believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe so. But anyway, I'll ask this question again and see if you guys want to answer in the chat. Have you ever heard Ripple, Brad, Monica Long, any of them say that they're doing retail DeFi? Or have they said that they're doing institutional DeFi? Well, no, it's about the institutional grade. It's about the institutional grade. Okay. We'll see if it's just about the institutional grade. We'll see. We'll see. Because here's the other part that I'm going to say too, that bothers me a little bit. If just some dude with a YouTube channel, and through due diligence and research and a little bit of homework, find the gotchas in that Senate version market structure bill, you're telling me that Brad and that team of lawyers there can't? Are you telling me they don't understand the meanings of these carve outs and exclusions and markups? I'm going to read some stuff directly from the market structure bill. And you tell me how this is good for retail and DeFi and platforms like Aave and Uniswap. You tell me how it's good for them. I'll share with you. What's going on, Cali Cat? How are you, my friend? I appreciate you checking in. Life is good. Me and Jungle going at it on X. We do this. We do this every now and then. We'll go back at each other on X on some points. We'll do that every now and then. It's all good. Friendly. Yes. All right. So let me find this thing here. I think I have it. Let me find it. Again, it's not just Coinbase TD freelancer, as people would have you believe, who are absolutely opposed, 100% opposed to the current version of this market structure, and sided with Brian Armstrong of Coinbase for walking away. All right, so do I have it? Yeah. I'm going to share some of the points that they mentioned that are similar, okay? Two different interviews again. Let me share it. Let me get those for you so you'll have them. The videos. Here's the Grayscale interview. Clarity is bearish for crypto, current version. Grayscale backs Coinbase. Okay, Zach Panel interview. And then here's the other interview with the VanEck guy, Matthew Siegel. I hope that's Siegel. And he's got Ripple sides with the banks. Okay. Why do you think that is? Okay, but anyway, those are the two videos. Let me know if you want the links to them, and I will share them. So what I did is did a comparison of these two interviews, and what were they saying? Or were they in complete opposition, or did they agree with each other? Okay, so let me share again, because I'm telling you, the word on X is this was Coinbase, and it's Coinbase's fault, and Coinbase is pulling away, and Ripple is, but just aghast that Coinbase would walk away. Or at least Brad was. Anyhow, so anyway, let me share this. You guys didn't answer that question. Oh, one person answered the question. Only one. Only one person dare say, did Ripple say institutional DeFi or retail DeFi? Because as far as I'm concerned, they've said nothing but institutional DeFi. Other question is just simply, would you love JP Morgan style crypto company? JP Morgan doing crypto. Goldman Sachs doing crypto. Would you love it? I know I wouldn't. I know I would not. All right, here it is. It's just some comparisons I put together here. No bill. They both said this. They both said this. I'm just bringing out some points. They both said that no bill is better than a bad bill. Both the VanEck voice and the Grayscale voice echo the same principle. Coinbase is pushing, don't codify a bad market structure just to say we got clarity. And just on a little side note, I would love for someone to share between the two bills, the House version, Clarity Act, the Senate version, market structure bill. I would love for you to share the sections and the wording that says Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP are digital commodities. Aave, Uniswap are DeFi tokens. NFTs are securities. Virtuals is an AI token. I would love for you to, it was supposed to be the Clarity Act, was it not? Where is it? Where's the clarity? Anyone feel good that that your token that you're holding, that you're hoping to get a 15 to 20x on, is not a security? Could you take that evidence before the court of law and share? Yeah, this is not a security. Look, this is what Congress put out. Can you do that? I didn't see it anywhere in the market structure bill. I didn't see it anywhere in the Clarity Act. So why are YouTubers saying we need clarity? Yeah, we need clarity. It's not in this market structure bill. Where is it? It's not there. Remember, Coinbase is pushing, don't codify or codify a bad market structure just to say we got clarity. We don't have clarity. They both agree that banks versus crypto is a competition fight. It's not a vibes fight. I'm alarmed that Brad Garlinghouse talking about level playing field and that he loves competition is good. But he wants this version of the market structure bill, which in fact, eliminates competition. It's pulling a little Gruber vibe. I'm getting a little Gruber vibe from that dude. Anyway, banks versus crypto is a competition fight. It's not a vibes fight. Both frame the main resistance as bank lobby pressure. The main resistance is bank lobby pressure against stablecoin rewards and yields and broader competition. Competition is good, Brad. How about allowing for it? Competition is good. Why don't you state that this thing would effectively eliminate competition to the banks? Why aren't you saying that? Oh, how about because you're about to become a bank? Let me welcome some more people in the chat. Alex Jeet's in the building. What's up, bro? Are you driving, brother? Be safe on those roads, man. D Dre's in the building. What is that? Ease? Nah, man. What's going on there? I don't know what you're saying, bro. Welcome to the stream. Again, I'm going to share some sections of the market structure bill with you guys so you can read it yourself and you could see the wording. I just encourage you to take some time and do it yourself. So you're not relying on me or some other people on YouTube or Brad Garlinghouse, who is clearly talking the Ripple book, so you can see for yourself. Wendy O said this thing is not for retail at all. Wendy O, it's not for retail. Alex C said, yes, I'm at a stoplight. Yes, I am still driving. Any news on Flare? No, sir, no news. I mean, there is some good news on Flare. I mean, Flare is killing the game. Flare is killing the game. You want to talk about institutional grade products for retail and institutions? That's Flare Networks. That is Flare Network. They deserve what? What does Ripple deserve, my friend? What do they deserve all day? 283. I'm wondering, what do you think they deserve? In the end, the bill is the bill. We can't just say, well, Ripple fought this fight for their shareholders. And then say, well, Ripple's right about everything else after that fight. They can't be wrong. Ripple can't be wrong. Ripple can't be acting in their own self-interest because they had to defend themselves in a lawsuit. They don't have shareholders. What do you mean they don't have shareholders? I don't know what you mean by they don't have shareholders. They had investment rounds, right? They had a series of investments rounds, right? Those are shareholders, right? They don't have to be a public trading company to have shareholders. You can be a private company with shareholders. You just don't have public offerings of those shares. All right. Oh, so okay, all day you think Coinbase is trying to get ahead of the pack? Okay. Well, I'm going through what the people from VanEck and the people from Grayscale are saying about this market structure bill. Not just Coinbase. Not just Coinbase. It's just that Coinbase has a seat at the table. All right. So what else are they saying and agreeing on? This is some bullet points that they both agreed on here. Again, let me go over this again. The banks versus crypto is a competition fight. It's not a vibes fight. It's not about Coinbase. Both frame the main resistance as bank lobby pressure against stablecoin rewards, slant yield, and broader competition. Yield isn't a side quest, it's adoption fuel. They both agree on that, and I agree. Both treat stablecoin yield as a meaningful driver of adoption. A meaningful driver of adoption, and slowing slant limiting it slows adoption. Clarity, current form, isn't uniformly bullish. Winners and losers are baked in. Both explicitly acknowledge market structure rules create structural winners. Incumbents, slant licensed players, and structural losers. Permissionless, or retail optimized models. Those are the structural losers. Second order effects matter more than headlines. Both agree on that. Both are focused on mechanics, incentives, friction, distribution gates, how rules change behavior, not number go up. So a lot of people on YouTube want quote unquote clarity because they think the market is going to begin to do its thing. The number's going to go up because we got quote unquote clarity, not realizing that they're giving up the farm to the incumbents because they're not taking the time to read the bill. They're relying on Brad to do all the talking and the thinking for them instead of doing it themselves. They're institutional and policy aware in tone. Neither talks like a maxi or influencer. It's pragmatic, durable frameworks, competition, implementation, risk, unintended consequences. They both warn about rollback risk. That's a big one. Like a lot of people don't understand the process. I shared this on X. You should check it out. Check me out on X at crypto_CEJ. I shared how it works from the staffers to the Congress people, how it all works and where the dangers lie. Like people are still thinking that I'm telling you, Alex G, people are still thinking that their local Congress people are the ones who really write these bills. They are not. They present them. They start initial 2 or 3 sentence and maybe a title. Okay. But those things get written by the stakeholders, people who have stake, right, in the result of the bill. Those are the people who write them. Why are we forgetting Elizabeth Warren and what she did? Warren and what she did. Why are people forgetting that in crypto? I don't understand. Both emphasize don't go backwards on gains from prior progress. Don't go backwards. The Genius Act was passed and put into law. The banking lobbies didn't like it, so they put together this bill. That's the bottom line. And people are blinded because they see their congressperson presenting it. It's not President Trump's bill. It was President Trump's intention, but it changed. They change and they get rewritten. Common conclusion, the text matters more than the title. The text, the actual wording matters more than the title. I shared with you guys a video yesterday of Gruber working with the current presidential administration, past presidential administration, Obama's, and how he was hired to hoodwink and bamboozle the American people as a consultant. He said the first thing you got to do is mislead them with your title. That's what he said. I didn't say it. This is the Gruber guy said. The first thing you got to do is mislead them with the title. Oh, how about the Clarity Act? Next thing you got to do is put these terms and definitions in that he said, quote unquote, the American people are too stupid to understand. His words. Obama thing was not that long ago. You think they just cut it off with Obama? You think they just stopped that practice with President Obama? Is that what you think? So, common conclusion, the text matters more than the title, whether it's disclosures, definitions, carve outs, KYC slant AML scope, or rail slant settlement treatment. They're all saying the same thing. Don't trust slogans like institutional DeFi. Read the mechanism. Read the mechanism. And welcome some more people in. Then I'm going to share some stuff from that market structure with you guys. All day says the banks want Coinbase. No, the banks don't. In addition to the banks wanting Coinbase to be regulated, the banks don't want Coinbase to offer the 3, 4, or 5% yield, what they're calling rewards that Circle generates and has the business model and shares it with Coinbase. Coinbase, to be regulated like a bank, has to perform the same functions as a bank. Coinbase does not do fractional reserve lending. Coinbase doesn't take deposits. Coinbase doesn't offer CDs and checking accounts. Coinbase doesn't have a list of assets and liabilities, and they had this short-term thing here and this long-term here, and they arbitrage it and make $30 billion a quarter in net interest income. That's what the banks do. The banks make $30 billion per quarter in net interest income. Profit, not revenue. Profit. They have to be regulated because they do not have and are now not required to have a one-to-one ratio in deposits, right, and loans. They don't have to have the money to create the loan. They don't have to have a reserve or vault of money to provide lending. That's why they have to have regulations and be regulated, because they don't practice a one-to-one model. Unlike stablecoins in the Genius Act, which said that they have to have one-to-one backing in cash and other assets. It has to. They cannot do any type of fractional reserve, anything. That's what the Genius Act put into law. The banks don't want to do that. And they're not doing it. So their fear right now is they have been getting away for decades with paying you and I 0.05 of a percent on your money that's deposited, while they sell it somewhere else at 5, 10, and 15%. That's the model. That's what Coinbase, and Brian Armstrong, VanEck, and Grayscale are publicly stating they don't want the competition that Coinbase and other issuers, by way of competition, would be allowed to do. They want to make it illegal. And I'm going to share some of the stuff with you. They want to make that illegal. Right? Why? Because if a regular person just trying to survive can take their dollars, turn it into a stable coin, and instead of depositing into their savings account at 0.05, 0.05, right? Yeah, 0.05, right? If they can take that and they can put it on Coinbase, and because of the partnership with Circle, Coinbase can offer those people who merely hold USDC on the platform and earn 3, 4, 5% on that money. But like former Senator Pat Toomey pointed out in his article on the Financial Times that I shared with you guys yesterday, he says the Coinbase has been doing this for a while, and the stablecoin industry has gone from $5 billion to $300 billion. I believe that was the number. Yet the net deposits in the banking institution went from 13 trillion to 18 trillion. So where's the loss? The stablecoin thing significantly went up. Where was the flight of these depositors that the bank alleges is going to happen? Where's the proof in the numbers? Again, former Senator Pat Toomey wrote an article in the Financial Times about that. So how are they losing? What they don't want is competition, right? And Coinbase and others will provide that competition for dollars. And they don't want it. I just found you. Oh, no worries, bro. No worries, my friend. No worries at all. Right. So that is really the issue. Now let me find these sections here because I want to share these so that people can, who might not take the time to find it themselves, can go through this. Actual market structure, wording, and terminology. All right, here it is, right. I'm just give you some word for word wording. Some word to word wording. And then I'll maybe go over a little bit of that back and forth between me and Jungle. I have the entire session from the WF with Brad and Brian Armstrong. But I have to do some things first before I can kind of share it. So here it is. All right. So the bill explicitly pulls digital asset service providers into Bank Secrecy Act land with AML and KYC, right? Treatment under the Bank Secrecy Acts and sanction laws. A digital asset provider shall be treated as a financial institution. So one of the things I asked was, I asked about that term. The digital asset, let me share that. I'm just gonna see. I asked if the digital asset provider could be platform like Uniswap and Aave. according to this wording, they can now implement themselves into different layers of Aave. I'm going to read the wording into different layers of Uniswap. And if they're integrated somehow into Uniswap or Aave, they can not only just be regulated, but they can be shut down. They can be charged fees. Yes, that's correct. And you're framing it the right way. Anyway, let me get back to these points. Digital asset provider. Here it is right here. Yes, the protocol's code can stay decentralized. Because I asked, could Aave or Uniswap be a digital asset service provider? The protocol code can stay decentralized, but the people and entities running the access layer, front ends, hosted UIs, fee switches, compliance screens, custodial wrappers absolutely could get lumped into digital asset service providers, depending on how the Genius Act's definition is interpreted and how amendments tighten control. Okay. Why is plausible? Digital asset service provider is a defined term that the bill imports from the Genius Act. The draft doesn't define it locally. It says digital asset provider has the meaning given in Section 2 of the Genius Act. So the fight becomes, does the Genius definition capture a hosted DeFi's front end operator or a company that provides trading and lending interface? If yes, then you're deemed a digital asset service provider. You're treated like a financial institution for BSA and AML. Would we like to see Aave and Uniswap become that? I don't think so. All right. So anyway, a digital asset provider shall be treated, I read that, it shall be subject to federal laws of prevention of money laundering, so DeFi. So think Uniswap or think a DeFi platform that you use, right? Subject to federal law for prevention of money laundering, customer ID, and due diligence, including maintenance of an effective anti-money program, monitoring and reporting of any suspicious transaction, maintenance, all that stuff. High value transaction, enhanced due diligence. And why does this matter? Even if someone says DeFi is decentralized, the real world access points, platform services, regulators decide our service providers get pulled into the BSA style compliance. That's the choke point dynamic. In other words, the regulators and agencies can integrate themselves into Uniswap, which means they can fine them, they could burden them, like the lady Kara from Coinbase at Policy was saying, they can burden some them with these heavy burdens to remain up and operational, make it compliance heavy. Now, maybe Uniswap and Aave can afford the fees. Remember, to become compliant, you got to file this paperwork, costs money. You got to file that paperwork, costs money. You got to file this paperwork, costs money. You got to get lawyers to make sure it's done the right way. All that stuff costs money. So TradFi and regulators, who controls these regulators? Do you think it's Congress? Who controls the financial regulators like the OCC? I would say it's the banks. Integrate themselves all in there. And if Uniswap is like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think about it. They can shut them down, shut their doors, make it illegal for US users to use Uniswap because Uniswap is not acting like they're beholden to the banking association. You understand? That's what can happen. The bills, again, this is section 201A 1-21A in the market structure bill. The bill's DeFi protection, quote unquote, is conditional. It's conditional. People keep thinking that DeFi is somehow protected. It's conditional. It hinges on a strict definition of DeFi trading protocol. Section 501 adds Exchange Act, Section 15H, application to software developers. Inside it, 15H A1 defines decentralized finance trading protocols. It only qualifies if users can execute transactions in accordance with an automated rule, predetermined and non-discretionary, and without reliance on a person other than the user to maintain custody or control. That's the section. Then comes the landmine, which is exclusions. It's not DeFi if a person or group has the authority to control or materially alter the functionality, operation, or rules. So if the DAO is associated and they want to change, upgrade the protocol, that's under operation. Do you understand? That's what we covered yesterday about definitions. So if Uniswap wants to go to version V5, that would be under functionality and operation. So it's not DeFi. So it's not excluded. Why does this matter? This is exactly the definitions and control creep problem you've been warning about. If control gets interpreted broadly or amended, we haven't gotten to the markup thing because thank God Brian Armstrong was willing to walk away, had the courage to walk away. If control gets interpreted broadly or amended, front ends and teams get shoved out of the DeFi bucket and into regulated buckets. And once they get into the regulated bucket thing, they have lost control. They will be completely beholden to TradFi, to regulators, and these TradFi and regulators is owned by the banking cartel. There's no other way to say it. Another section here. The user interface carve-out exists, but it's narrow and it's not a blanket. DeFi is safe. Still in section 501, the bill says you're not regulated solely, quote unquote, for certain activities, including providing a user interface that enables a user to read and access data about a digital ledger system. Why does this matter? That reads access data language. It's not the same as operate a trading front end with fees, routing, sequencing, incentives, governance, influence. This is why people saying DeFi won't be affected are overconfident. The carve-outs are not written like a force field. Even when the carve-outs apply, regulators still keep enforcement powers. Section 15H of the current version of the market structure bill. Exceptions, that term is blunt. The carve-out shall not apply to the anti-fraud, anti-manipulation, or false reporting enforcement authorities of the commission. So even in the protected zone, the SEC keeps hooks. That's another reason nothing to worry about narrative is weak. This is just 4 examples. That's written. I go over section 406 as well. I think I did that on on X. Okay. It's important to know what's really going on here. This is a complete attempt at regulatory capture. That's what the market structure bill is about. And certainly they don't want competition. So they don't want to compete on the product. They want to try to compete on this regulations. That's the issue. This is what I, let me share this here thing with, one of the things that I shared. Let me share this one here first. That's what I said here. Because Jungle clipped this part here. He didn't clip all of what Brad had to say. He only clipped part of it. So there was more before this that was alarming for me to hear. Him saying that Ripple doesn't have a dog in this fight is concerning, to say the least. But anyway, I said, because he mentions a level playing field. Let's take a listen to this. And this is what I just, yeah, I think Jungle asked if I agreed. Is this the one we said, do you agree? Yeah, do you agree with Brad? I said, no. But first I said, heck no, but then I changed it. All right, so let's listen to Brad. I want you to just listen to his, what I call word salad.
That petition is good. I agree very much with the idea of level playing field. Now, I also think a level playing field goes two ways, in that crypto companies should be held to standards that banks are, and banks should be held to standards that crypto companies are in order to compete. So I don't think that's a one-way street, that somehow Team Crypto gets to have, you know, a certain pass in some way.
So again, let me share what I shared in response to that, because this is just nonsensical, in my opinion. A level playing field is not achieved by pushing crypto into legacy choke points. The entire point of public permissionless blockchains. Everybody keeps forgetting it because they're so desperate for clarity. The entire point of public permissionless blockchains was to reduce the gatekeeping and lower tolls. You know, the ones that you pay when you go to a bank. When you sign an account to get a checking or savings account, and you willingly agree that your money is no longer your money, or else you cannot get the account. And everyone's just, oh, Coinbase walked away. And they completely forget that they agreed to give up their money. And the only time that they really bother to think about it is when they go in to try to get it. You ever put in $25,000 in your bank account and then 48 hours later try to get it? I have. And they told me I had to wait 5 to 7 days. Yeah, it's back when I was a controller. They told me I had to wait 5 to 7 days to get my money out of the account. And making a, oh, and the other part, that was the other part. I had to make an appointment to go get my money so that they could have the $25,000 that I already put there in. Because initially I just deposited the check, and then I was like 2 days. Then I thought to myself, you know what? It'd be nice to just have the cash and just kind of, I don't know, play around with it in a, I don't know, right? So I wanted to just get the cash. and couldn't do it. I had to make an appointment. And the nearest appointment, I think, it was some 5 to 7 days, some crap. Yeah. Meanwhile, they're paying me 0.05% on my money that's deposited. The entire point of public permissionless blockchains was to reduce gatekeeping and lower tolls. If the bill preserves incumbent rails while using crypto language, that's not competition. It's just rebranding. Have anyone been paying attention? 406 talked about the tokenization. Have you been paying attention to what that says about tokenization? Section 406 talks about tokenization. You ever find it interesting how BlackRock is about, let's tokenize everything, tokenization? Do you find it interesting that the New York Stock Exchange just announced that they're going to have a 24/7 platform for tokenization of assets? Did you understand that Section 406 says that will not be done on blockchain rails? The end will not be blockchain rails. It will be essentially the DTCC. Now, they don't use the words DTCC, but who else is going to do that type of clearing 24/7? But they use in tokenization, it's kind of like the whole .com thing. Remember, everyone started putting .coms behind their thing, behind their business name. So they're using these wordings right, to lure us in, to make us believe. Remember, the first thing to do, Mr. Gruber said, was use a mislabeling language, misleading rather, I'm sorry, a misleading language like tokenization. Yeah, we're going to tokenize things and we're going to be open 24/7, right? New York Stock Exchange, newest thing here, right? New York Stock Exchange, part of into the 24/7 trading, right? Tokenized securities platform, tokenized securities. Where did tokenization come from? So everyone think this is great for crypto. All it is the New York Stock Exchange upgrading their stuff, but this is not going to be a crypto thing. Let me see if I can't find some other posts I have on X for you guys. Let's see. Let me find my thing here. All right, let me share this right here. What you got? Because this is in section 406, talk about tokenization. So I posted on X about this. I guess we can't say tweeted anymore. I don't even know. Tokenization is a marketing word unless the rails change. Everyone's screaming tokenization like it means crypto one. Tokenization does not equal decentralization. And tokenization does not equal open rails. The New York Stock Exchange said this is going to be a private thing. The New York Stock Exchange is now pitching 24/7 tokenized securities platform with stablecoin funding and instant settlement. But distribution is by way of qualified broker dealers. That's gated access, not permissionless finance. The Senate Market Structure Draft 406 defines tokenization as a digital representation on a distributed ledger. It sounds bullish until the carve-outs. Read the fine print. The same section says if it's a security, it stays a security, even if it's issued, recorded, or transferred on a DLT. The wrapper changes, the gatekeepers don't. Then, in reference to being on a public permissionless chain, it says it punts the big question to study plus possible rulemaking. They're going to do a study and possible rulemaking later. Right now, this tokenization is going to be on TradFi rails. Which means, in my opinion, never. It's never going to happen. Do a study on it and possible rulemaking. If open blockchains can't be the final settlement ledger with all the transparency and all the irreversible stuff that comes with a published public blockchain, permissionless blockchain, all you got is JP Morgan doing tokenization. All you got is BlackRock doing tokenization. Right? If open blockchains can't be the final settlement layer, crypto didn't win. TradFi just adopted the word tokenization and kept the toll roads, which means screw retail. So again, the inspiration for this video came from these two interviews on YouTube with the guy from Grayscale and the guy from VanEck. Two separate interviews. You should check them out. Do your homework. Paul Barron Network. Take a listen to it. Get the transcript. Have it analyzed, detailed. Ask questions. What does it mean for retail? How does this affect crypto? Is this good for me, crypto retail, or is it not? Right? Is it good for retail or is it not good for retail? That's what I'm concerned with. Is it good for you and I or no? And I did have a back and forth with my guy Jungle. We do that from time to time. I'll share that with you guys tomorrow. And also, if we're not able to kind of do our own due diligence, we can be kind of misled in 50 different directions. The current market structure bill is not good for crypto. DeFi is not protected. It's word salad. Because they know the game. They understand the game. In crypto and retail, most of retail doesn't understand the game. They are attempting to perform regulatory capture of the crypto industry. How many of you guys saw my video where I shared Mr. Gruber, the consultant for the Obama administration, saying this is how you hoodwink and bamboozle the American people to get a bill across? You should watch that. Alarming. He literally said the American people are too stupid. I would argue that it just become complacent, too trusting. I would argue that people have a tendency to put people on pedestals and idol and operate in idolizing someone. It's dangerous. Dangerous. It's dangerous. Right? It's very, very dangerous. It's dangerous, my friend. So I appreciate you guys checking in. I just wanted to share that. I hope you guys take a moment to check out those videos that I shared. Paul Barron Network on YouTube, interview with VanEck, interview with Grayscale. It's not just Coinbase. It's not just Coinbase. It is people from Grayscale. It is the people from VanEck and other crypto institutional crypto leaders saying no bill is better than a bad bill, especially one that is trying to capture regulatory capture of this digital asset space. We want clarity, not bad clarity. I don't want to see Uniswap become some regulated entity looking like JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, but it just says crypto on the interface when you get to it. Because there will be tolls to pay. And we'll just get ourselves into, we'll lose what we fought so hard to get to this point. Recognized as the new financial system in a digital asset class. That's what's at stake here. So I hope you guys take some time to do your due diligence on that. It's not hard to find it. So you can kind of come to your own conclusions and you can share them with me here once you go through it. That'd be awesome to go back and forth with that. So, all right, fam, do me a favor, hit the like button on the way out. That'd be super dope. If you can do that, you know how we do. We like to have just as many likes as we got viewers in the stream. And if you happen to be in that 55% or so of people that are hanging out, listening to and watching the Crypto Series, do me a favor. If you've been enjoying those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this or perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.